Pull a can from your shelf. Any can. Soup, beans, tuna, it does not matter. Open it and listen. There is a hiss, a small sharp sound that lasts less than a second. That is air rushing in, the first air to touch the food inside since the day the can was sealed. Weeks ago, months, maybe years, nothing got in. No oxygen, no moisture, no bacteria. The food survived not because anything was added, but because everything was removed. But the container you are holding took almost 100 years to stop killing people. Glass that exploded. Tin that needed a hammer to open. Seals made of lead that poisoned entire expeditions. In 1795, the French government posted a prize. 12,000 francs for anyone who could preserve food for Napoleon's armies. A confectioner named Nicolas Appert won it by sealing cooked food in glass champagne bottles and boiling them. It worked. He had no idea why, but glass was fragile. Bottles shattered during transport exploded under pressure and weighed too much for soldiers to carry. In 1810, a British merchant named Peter Durand solved the breakage by replacing glass with tin-plated iron. The modern can. Lighter, stronger, nearly indestructible. One problem, there was no can opener. That would not be invented for another 48 years. Soldiers pried cans open with bayonets, rocks, and rifle fire. Field instructions from the British Army literally read cut round the top near the outer edge with a chisel and hammer. But the worst problem was invisible. Cans were sealed with lead solder. In 1845, the Franklin expedition set out to find the Northwest Passage. 129 men, 3 years of canned food supplies. None of them came back. When remains were found decades later, testing revealed extreme lead concentrations in hair and bones. The cans meant to keep them alive may have been poisoning them the entire journey. For a century, canning technology worked despite itself. Every fix introduced a new failure. A modern canning factory runs on the same core principle from 2 centuries ago. Kill what is inside, seal everything out. But every failure in the can's history has been engineered away. Next comes the step that finally solved the lead problem. The double seam. Developed in 1900, it eliminated solder entirely. A machine places a lid on the open can and feeds it through 2 rollers in sequence. The first roller curls the lid edge and the can body together. The second roller presses them flat into a tight continuous fold. 2 layers of metal interlocked with a rubber compound between them. No lead, no solder, no toxic seal. The join is hermetic. No air, no water, no microorganism can cross it. The sealed can enters a retort, a massive pressure vessel filled with steam at 15 pounds per square inch, raising temperature to between 116 and 130 degrees Celsius, far above boiling. At that heat, the spores of Clostridium botulinum are destroyed. This organism produces botulism toxin, a poison so potent that a single gram could kill 1 million people. The retort holds temperature for a calculated time depending on can size and food density. Then cold water floods the chamber. As the can cools, steam trapped inside condenses. Liquid water takes up less space than vapor. A partial vacuum forms. That vacuum pulls the lid inward slightly, creating the familiar concave shape on every can you have ever bought. If the lid bulges, outward gas is building inside. Something survived. Do not eat it. The food was still safe to eat. A century and 9 years at the bottom of a river, and not a single microorganism had breached the seal. Next time you pull the tab on a can, pause at the hiss. That sound is a vacuum breaking. Air floods in. Pressure equalizes. The seal breaks for the first time since the day the can left the factory. Spam contains exactly 6 ingredients: pork with ham, salt, water, potato starch, sugar, and sodium nitrite. 6. Compare that to the average hot dog, which contains 15 to 25 ingredients, or chicken nuggets with over 30. The product you have been calling mystery meat might be the least mysterious processed food in your kitchen. The reputation started during World War II. The United States shipped over 150 million pounds of canned pork to troops and allies between 1941 and 1945. Soldiers ate it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, sometimes all three on the same day. They called it mystery meat, special army meat, and things far less polite. But none of those jokes were about ingredients. They were about repetition. When you eat anything every single meal for 3 years, you grow to resent it. The mystery was never what was inside the can. The mystery was why anyone would voluntarily eat it after the war ended. Here is the thing nobody tells you. Making Spam is remarkably straightforward. There are no secret chemicals, no mystery steps, just meat, salt, and heat. Pork shoulder arrives at the Hormel facility in Austin, Minnesota, within 48 hours of slaughter. Workers trim excess fat and bone, leaving lean muscle with roughly 20% fat content. This ratio matters. Too lean and the product dries out during cooking. Too fatty and it becomes greasy. Grinding happens in 2 stages. First pass uses a coarse plate with holes around 13 millimeters wide. This creates the chunks you can see when you slice Spam. Second pass uses a finer plate at 6 millimeters, producing a smoother paste that binds everything together. The ground meat enters a mixer. Here it combines with the remaining 5 ingredients: salt for flavor and preservation, water for moisture, sugar in small amounts to balance the salt, potato starch to absorb excess liquid, and sodium nitrite at 156 parts per million to prevent bacterial growth and maintain the pink color. That is it. No artificial flavors, no emulsifiers, no modified food starch blends, no hydrolyzed protein, no mechanically separated meat. The mixture gets portioned into cans at exactly 340 grams each. A vacuum sealer removes trapped air. Then the sealed cans enter a retort chamber heated to 121 degrees Celsius at 15 pounds per square inch of pressure. 6 ingredients: ground pork, cooked under pressure, sealed in a can. Right now, the United States military is feeding over 100,000 personnel across 19 bases in the Middle East. No kitchens in forward positions, no refrigerators, no fire allowed after dark. Every one of them eats from a brown pouch that weighs less than a kilogram. 1,250 calories sealed inside a packet, designed to survive a parachute drop, a desert at 50 degrees, and a winter at -50. Add 30 milliliters of water and the meal heats itself. No flame, no electricity, just chemistry. C rations fed American soldiers from World War II through Vietnam. Troops hated them. Each can weighed nearly half a kilogram and required a separate opener. In 1961, the Army began designing a replacement. They needed a ration that was lighter, had a 3-year shelf life, and could be eaten straight from the package with no preparation. 20 years of research later, the first meal ready to eat rolled off the production line in 1981. MRE production starts at one of 3 contracted factories in the United States. Food scientists at the Natick Soldier Research Center in Massachusetts develop each recipe to meet strict military nutritional standards: 13% protein, 36% fat, 51% carbohydrates. Ingredients are cooked in industrial kitchens, then sealed into a retort pouch. This pouch is not plastic. It is a 3-layer laminate outer polyester for durability middle aluminum foil To block oxygen light and moisture, inner polypropylene for food-safe contact. The layers are bonded together and heat-sealed. Because the pouch is flat, heat penetrates the food in 45 minutes. A metal can of the same volume takes 4 hours. This shorter exposure means better taste and texture. The pouch must survive drops from aircraft temperatures from -51 to 49 degrees Celsius, and the weight of a rucksack crushing it for weeks. Each MRE contains an entree side dish, bread or crackers, spread dessert drink, powder utensils, and a flameless ration heater. The heater is a flat pad containing powdered magnesium, alloyed with iron, and a small amount of table salt. When a soldier adds 1 ounce of water, the salt dissolves into an electrolyte. Each particle of magnesium and iron becomes a tiny battery. Because the particles touch each other, they short-circuit thousands of them at once. The reaction produces magnesium hydroxide hydrogen gas and heat. In 12 minutes, the temperature rises 100 degrees Fahrenheit. No flame, no visible signature, just a pouch of water creating enough energy to heat a meal in a foxhole at midnight. Over 2 billion flameless ration heaters have been produced since 1993, and it traces back to a candy maker boiling champagne bottles because an emperor told him to. Here is where the story flips. The MRE was designed for 10 days. During Desert Storm in 1990, troops ate nothing else for 60. They nicknamed them meals rejected by everyone. Soldiers consumed only 60% of the calories. That disaster reshaped the program. The flameless heater was added. Menus expanded from 12 to 24. Tabasco candy and shelf-stable bread entered every pouch. The worst field experience in modern history produced the best version of the product. Every invention sitting in your pantry right now started on a battlefield. Canning was born because Napoleon's troops starved. Retort pouches replaced tin cans because soldiers in Vietnam refused to carry the weight. Flameless heaters exist because Desert Storm proved that cold food kills morale before bullets do. Tonight, on a base somewhere in the Middle East, someone will tear open a brown pouch, add an ounce of water, and eat a hot meal in the dark. A brown pouch, 1,250 calories, 30 milliliters of water, and a reaction that needs no flame. From champagne bottles to a foxhole at midnight. That's the process. We reveal how things actually work one story at a time. If there's something you'd like us to explore next, let us know. Until then, trust the process.